Lineman.com.
Old school on a Wednesday, and we got a good one for you. So buckle in and let's talk a little football. Coach Wilhite, will you bring in our special guest?
My guy, Nick Gates, 68. What's up, big fella?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing well, man. How you doing?
Not too bad. Just out here in Dallas training right now. So about to head to Washington.
Well, so Nick, my DC is my home. DC is where I was born and raised, and I cut my teeth in that organization. I will text you privately and give you some food, all the places for you to go. We'll get you fed. Yeah, we'll get you fed for sure. Don't worry.
Perfect. Yeah, I need all the food spots.
I was just about to say he's probably going to take you up on that one.
Hey, I'm going to hook him up. And those are good folks. Jen King will be out there. Jen King's one of my people. She's, of course, in the backfield. Those are my folks. So we'll take care of you. What led to the move? Why the choice? And how did the Washington situation come into play?
Yeah, they just they showed the most interest and gave me the most money. So I was really didn't have any other choice kind of thing. So it was nice to go to a team that wanted me. So that's kind of how it happened.
That's in division, in conference. You're familiar, right? So you're not going into strange territory, and you get to talk about it because you had to play against the group that was defined as Washington's best in that defensive line. That's an elite group. Let's talk about some of those teammates that you're going to, now you're going to get to practice against every day with guys like Deron Payne and Chase, et cetera.
Yeah, John, those guys, they're a good group up front. They're good for me to go against some practice every day out. So they're good players. We play against them twice a year, and they're always a tough line or a tough game for us up front usually when we play them.
Let's go back in history, because the first time we get folks on, I like to ask them about why they chose Nebraska. How did Nebraska become the choice for you?
Yeah, so I think a big deal is when I got off the plane there, I don't know, it felt different. It just felt like home, and it's everything I always wanted but never had it. I mean, just Nebraska's so different, but I always kind of wanted that lifestyle. I thought it'd been cool to grow up there. But and Bo Pelini too. I just me and my family all liked him and the coaching staff and what they had, and they really struck my family off their feet when they came to for their visit with me, and that was a big thing of why I chose Nebraska. But yeah, just also the people, and how great the tradition is in Nebraska football, especially as offensive linemen. And yeah, that's mainly it.
Hey, Nick, you mentioned Bo. I know when you were there was a coaching change, and you don't have to go into detail if you don't want to. But what was your decision? What led up to your decide? What was the deciding factor for you during the coaching change that you thought it would be best that you just entered the NFL draft?
I was just ready to get out of there, I think, and I just didn't want to go through another coach. And I didn't want to do all that. I didn't want to start over. I just thought I was ready. Football really wasn't, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't really loving football too much at the time either. So I was like, hey, screw it, let's try to go and, make some money out of it. And, Kenny was just telling me all what the scouts were saying, and, just gave me the information and just kind of let me make a decision. But, that was kind of one of the main reasons why. And I just didn't want new coaching staff.
Yep. Looking back on it, I know you and I had a lot of conversations about what you should do, what you should not do. I was one that was going to always have your back, regardless of the decision you made. You're in your fifth year now. You're with a new team. Do you look back on? Do you think you made the right decision, or do you think you should have stayed?
100% made the right decision. When I made after that year, I did not think I made the right decision. But five after finishing 5 years, it was the best thing I think I ever did for myself.
Good.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, to spend 60% of your career as a starter, even after that first year, that's impressive along the way. What is it that let me ask you this. What did you learn Nebraska that helped you in the NFL? What's the thing that you learned, that you picked up, that you feel like you carry with you every day, every practice, every game in the NFL?
I don't know if I learned it in Nebraska, but just the way I play, like my tough nose, like not don't give a crap attitude, like it doesn't matter who you are type thing. Just playing like hard nosed football, which I think is the way it's supposed to be played, and like talking crap and playing the echo of the whistle and things like that, which I think going to Nebraska kind of helped me, get better at and do I don't know, just watching the old offensive linemen there, all the good ones did that, and where bunch of good guys and went to work and they were hard nosed, trying to finish people down the field and stuff. So I think that kind of helped me. That's probably the thing I'd say from Nebraska.
Nick, can the offensive line here ever get back to that? Can they ever get back to that level of greatness? Not even if we didn't say pipeline greatness, but greatness to where folks are proud of being from Nebraska, and that there's a certain level of product in whoever comes from the University of Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't know. Even when I was there, we weren't very good. Like we had a couple good pieces we never keep. I ain't gonna lie. We just didn't. I don't know. We didn't win ball games. I think we won one year. I didn't even play my redshirt. We won 8 games that year, 9 games, and then I think that next year we won 6 or 5, and one with a bowl game. We shouldn't have got in, and then the next couple of years were just 4 games and 5. It was that. Sorry, it wasn't good. But I know. I mean, you never know. You never know what the right coach can do, and everybody thinks Rule could do it, but I think he can too. But we gotta see him prove himself first and see what he can bring. I feel like Nebraska's been going through a lot of coaches, and it's always the next one's the guy. The next one, let him give him a year or two and see what he's got and see what he's gonna do with the program.
Nick, we had Austin Allen and Travis Vokalek on yesterday. I know Austin. I asked Austin a question. How was it when you got there, knowing that there was two former Huskers there? Did you lean on those guys? What did you take from those guys that helped you out? And when you got Austin and you got Wandale, what did you do anything different? Did you try to help them out, show them the ropes?
Yeah, I would have introduced myself first day there, or I have to introduce myself to Austin, but Wandale I did, and I went up to Austin, was just talking to him, say, hey, if you need anything, I'm here to help. Like, I mean, we're 2 different positions, so I can't really help him too much when it comes to those aspects, but.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you needed help with anything, just things like that. He got, helps guys and kind of gives them. I don't know. So it's nice to be able to, people with the team when you first come in new. So,
Nick, is there?
I wouldn't say I did too much though. Just stuff. No, and I told them they anything they call me or whatever, right, or any recommendations, anything, or anything in the city, questions at all. I'll help them out.
I have to imagine they leaned on him emotionally, just knowing that you had about there.
Yeah, I know I would have. That's for sure.
Nick, it's you went through, as you said, an interesting time here, and it wasn't what you wanted it to be. But is there a moment that sticks out in your mind as, you know what, that was my Nebraska football moment. That was my favorite time of being a Husker.
Favorite times it wasn't even like playing football. It was just being with all the dudes and like I vividly remember like it was one of the years every summer we'd go out to Cole Conrad's parents' lake house and the whole line would go and I can say this now because we'd all bring cases of beer and it'd be crazy. We'd have like 30, 40 cases of beer and we'd be drinking and stuff. It was having a keg and stuff. It was a good time. So those are the times I really quite like. I remember more than on-field experiences and things like that. Just being with the guys.
Hey Nick. Hey Nick, you can't be saying you take cases of beer out the Cole Conrad's house, man. Come on, man.
Hey, we were all 21. Hey,
I know that, but come on now.
Oh, that I love it. I
do too.
Nick, hey, I love every word you just said.
Hey, I got one fond memory of you. Do you remember that personal foul call you got?
Which one? There's a lot.
I know the one where I had to talk you off the ledge from trying to just kill anybody that came within 10 feet of you. Do you remember that one?
Is that when Riley came and yelled at me or something like that?
Yes. Do you remember that one?
I think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Or no. I remember, Cav. They took me out of the game.
He took you out of the game. Exactly.
Cav pulled me off the field. I was fucking. Oh, sorry. I was livid.
We caught
I was livid.
Yeah, I mean, but that's to be expected. Like those passionate moments where you go through and you because you care. And I just remember Joe Gibbs saying, "I'd much rather have a guy who gets angry about things not going the way they're supposed to go than the guy who's passive and accepts it." And I think Nebraska will be really good with having more of that in the program. When you talk about your career to other people and they ask, if I asked you to scout yourself, why are you a good professional? What is it about Nick Gates that teams are gonna want on their roster?
I think I play the game the right way and just the way I go about my business every day. I know how to do my job. I might not look the greatest every time, but I'm always gonna be running down the field trying to do just the tough nose, hard working that type of dude. That's who I am.
Mean and nasty. That's what I remember. You
See, that's what that was the next question.
And that's why he got pulled out of the game, because he finished the guy off and the ref threw.
Kenny, I'm gonna ask you to describe Nick Gates. Give the scouting report on Nick Gates.
The thing, Nick Gates came in as a freshman, and the best thing that happened for Nick Gates was he practiced against 3 NFL D linemen: Randy Gregory, Malik Collins, and Vincent Valentine. And I watched Nick Gates as a
fourth one should have been an NFL player too.
Yes, and I watched Nick Gates never back down from any one of those guys. I said, that guy has a bright future. He has a bright future. Tough. You cannot coach toughness. You cannot coach meanness. And to watch him battle against those 3 guys every day and not back down, I said he's going to be good. And that's what we had back in the day. You had a guy like Nick Gates come in as a freshman, practice against the #1 defense, and that made him better. Even when we were here, you came in, you practiced against the best, good on good, and it made you better. So I watched him develop, and when it was time for him to make that decision, he made the right decision. He was ready.
Nick, of those guys you just mentioned, who was the guy that got your hair in a bunch? Who's the guy that really you knew, all right, when he put his fingers in the turf against you, you had to come to work?
I had to block Malik Collins a lot, so I gotta say Malik. That man, I don't know, he's quick and fast. He just, the way he moves, and he's just smooth. He's just super athletic and a big dude too. I think he weighs like 305 pounds. Moving the way he's doing is crazy. Mm-hmm. So he used to get the best of me. And then I remember vividly Zaire Anderson. He was a middle linebacker that played for us, and he came down and he would bring the hit sometimes. We were pulling around and stuff. But yeah, but definitely Malik Collins was the one that gave me the most trouble. So there's some days I wouldn't even be able to block him.
We're with Nick Gates, Husker, and now with the Washington Commanders, and congratulations on that. Talking about those guys that are tough to line up against, in your years in the NFL, who's the toughest? Who's the best that you had to line up against in a game?
Yeah, in a game, I gotta go with probably Fletcher Cox. I mean, Aaron Donald too, but he's good everywhere. Fletcher Cox is, even though he's just a good player. Every you don't know when he's gonna bring it or not. Like you never know what he can pull out of his bag and what he can do. He does everything so well. He can finesse. He has power. He's Fletcher Cox.
Hey, you mentioned Aaron Donald. Remember me texting you when he tried to pull your card? He tried to punk you, and I said, "Nice job not backing down from him." Remember that?
Yeah,
that's the
I remember that one. Yeah,
that's the Nick Gates I know.
Well,
yes, sir.
Well, that's a lot of that's reputation building as well, right? That why a team from within the NFC East would go and get somebody else's dude. So you better believe that there's some guys on that Washington front line that had good things to say about Nick Gates, and that's got to be impressive going in. What are your thoughts? I mean, a new quarterback in Washington, Sam Howell, you guys played one game. Heineke's gone, Wentz is gone, but they got a good running game. They got some running game and really good receivers. What's the expectation for you with this offense in Washington?
Hopefully I come in and help the guys win some ball games is all I can do. You know what I mean? Go out there and do my job. And I haven't got to meet the guy. I mean, I met some. I've played against some of them, but I haven't got to meet the guys or get to know them. Or I don't even really know what the offense is there yet. So, but yeah, no, I hope just come in. I can help us win ball games. That's all I really can do.
They got you. Where do you think they're going to put you? Center, guard, tackle? Which position you think they're going to put you in?
Center.
Center. I know you've played all three
center.
with the Giants, so that made your value go up. So right now they got you projected as a center.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So that's what I like best. Though. Center's, I think, my best position.
Yep.
Nick, Washington's in a different place because they just released their offensive line coach. Does that matter to you? Does it affect you at all?
No, I've never. I've talked to him sometimes after games and stuff, but other than that, I didn't really have a relationship with him. So it's kind of nice for me. I get a new guy, I'm new there. He'll be new there. Like, we'll be able to build a relationship together, which would be good. I think.
I think it's like I said. I talked to some folks back in DC when the announcement was made. Like, thank goodness that we're actually building up front because that's the old, just like Nebraska. That's the old Washington way, is to build up front and get tough, ornery guys. And there's a legacy of linemen there. The Hogs are there. It's a big deal in Washington. Linemen probably get more pull and more pub in DC than they do any other NFL city. So they're waiting for you. They're going to be excited. And if you are exactly who you've been, they are going to love you. They may dub you with the Hog nickname. How much familiarity do you have with the Hogs?
He's too.
No, but I'm giving him. I'm letting him know when he gets to DC and they start calling him a hog. Don't be mad. It's a compliment.
Oh. Yeah, no, I'm used to that. That's fine. That's what they called us in Nebraska. I'm pretty sure the hogs, big mollies, or what are they called? The fat boys. They call us everything. Cows.
Oh man, it's good in DC. It's actually a compliment. So, how often do you get back to Lincoln?
I try to get back to Nebraska at least once a year. I don't know if I get back to Lincoln every year, but I was just in Omaha last weekend. I think it was. Yeah, last weekend. Or 2 weekends ago. I was there visiting, actually, my buddy Cole Conrad. We had a couple beers this time, too. But
tell you what, hey, Nick,
visiting him.
Next time you come into Lincoln, Coach and I will actually buy the beers. So you don't even have to.
He still owes me wings.
Perfect.
He still owes me. So he buys the wings and we'll buy the beer. Bet.
Sounds perfect.
That sounds like all right. Listen, Nick, I know I appreciate you making time to come on and talk. I know the Husker fans are listening and they're happy to hear from you. And it gives them another jersey to go get, another jersey to follow in the league. And it's good to know that you're still going to be in the league. Kenny?
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time, bro. I know you got to get on that plane and get over to Washington. I'm so proud of you. You know that, and I'm going to back you 100%.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. You've always been in my corner. So
Yep.
You always supported me. You always believed in me from day one. So I appreciate it.
Yep.
That's the good stuff. Nick Gates, thank you very much, kind sir.
All right, guys. See you later. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, good stuff, right? When you hear toughness being talked about, like that's the stuff that fans hope players are talking about and the verbiage that you hope that they use. But I think it gets lost sometimes. That it's not just talk. The people that thing actually matters too.
Yes. Not just smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? He was a guy. He was frustrated with the change, new staff, but he never let that deter his play on the field.
Well, you don't let somebody else steal your joy, like
right.
The thing that works for you.
And I always try to tell them, don't let anybody get you out of your square. If they get you out of your square, they got you.
Well, I mean, this has been the big story in the offseason for me. Like, we're days away from spring practice. We're days away from the first bit of show your work with Matt Rule and this coaching staff. The first bit of show your work with the new players, because we've heard about them. We've seen them on tape. We've seen them on video. We've heard them speak, but we haven't seen any work. And at some point, you've got, like, I'm old school around teachers to tell you, DP, show your work. Well, you're about 4 days from showing the work that's been done from December to March. It's not going to tell us how good we're going to be in September, but it's going to let you know where you stand. Are you progressing? Are you getting better? You can't fake the funk at spring practice. At some point, folks, if you're injured, it's going to show up. People are going to talk about it. And then the other side of it, how will the returning Huskers engage and accept and show within the new verbiage, the new work, the new scheme, the new voices? And then how the transfers have acclimated themselves in the space. Are they ahead of the old players? Are they behind? Are they working at the new standard? And then we'll find out what that new standard is. Because we're told that, hey, we're working hard. Kenny, how will we know that they've been working hard? What's the thing you're going to look for that tells you, you know what, they're working hard?
I'm just going to say 2 words: physical and toughness. I want to see a physical, tough football team.
Can you see that early spring practice?
No.
Is that late spring practice? Is that spring game? Is that August?
You'll see mid-spring ball.
Okay.
Hopefully see some in the spring game, but August is when it's time to put up or shut up.
I just think all of this, like I said, we get to dance with all the verbiage and the glamour shots,
yep,
that we see on social media, that you've taken the 30 best seconds of a 3-hour workout, and that's supposed to tell me that the other 2 hours, 59 minutes, 30 seconds didn't have pimples and no bruises. We actually get to see some consistency. And I want to talk about that. We'll throw the break. When we come back, Kenny, I'm going to ask you, what are the biggest stories? What are the things we're looking for the most out of spring practice? What are we looking for? We'll get that out. Bach, take us to break, bro.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and Shay on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. March is a month of good luck, from epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors, too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tag-on, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 202-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Biker with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Max 10 for men. Bye-bye golfer lines and t-shirt 10s. Take it to the max at Max 10. Get a 30-day pass, just $25. With stand-ups and laydowns for men of stature. Be a Max 10 man. Get 30 days for just $25 now at all 4 Lincoln Max 10 locations.
Let me share something to make life just a little easier. It's just one word, Bryant. If we need service on our furnace or AC, we call Bryant. Same thing goes for an electrical issue. If I have a problem with my faucet, a toilet, a drain, or a water heater, I don't need to know how to fix something. I just need to know who to call. And at our house, it's Bryant.
Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Just one call. 467-1111. Remember, we do whatever it takes.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Park. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer, 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Forget the lame excuses this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday, March 16th and 17th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday to get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. And Friday, yeah, enjoy green beers for St. Patrick's Day and day 2 of the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O. Listening to Old School with DP and J. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment of hour number 1. We're going to go 30 minutes. We'll go to 5:30 today. Again, to bring you some March Madness action. Some first 4 action. First 4 winners, right? We have 2. We know who they are. And then we'll get 2 more. Fairleigh Dickinson and Texas Southern start early. Then Nevada versus Arizona State, which should be a good one. I think it's a final possession game, but I just like Arizona State's depth. Like I said, through the 11s, Pitt and whoever wins this for tonight, expect them to win another game. They'll knock off somebody, whoever one of those higher seeds are in their bracket. They'll get got by Pitt. Well, because, one, you've learned the building. Mm-hmm. You've gotten in rhythm. You've had success in the building, and they've had a short time because up to last night, they had to prepare for 2 teams.
True.
They had to prepare for 2 teams.
True.
So it's like, oh, wait a minute.
let me ask you a question for tonight's game.
Yeah.
The coaches interest me. Steve Alford and Bobby Hurley in their prime one-on-one.
Love it.
Who wins that matchup?
Bobby Hurley.
Whoa,
Dog.
Hold on. Wait. What?
Dog.
Did you really say
dog?
I mean, hold on, bro.
Dog.
Hold on.
Dog.
Stop the press.
Chips.
Time out.
Chips.
Time out.
Chips and
you
chips.
You saying that
because
because he's from
chips and chips and chips. He's from Jersey, but his dude, listen, he's a dog. I understand the beauty and the romanticism of Midwest point guards back in the day, right? That we say, okay, he was Hoosiers living in real time. Yeah. That was Steve Alford. He got up there with the I understand. But what Bobby Hurley did in the ACC, when you had to face on one night, you had to go down to Georgia Tech, get a dude. Then to go to Maryland, get a dude. Then you had to go to UVA and get a dude.
Oh, you left out North Carolina.
That was safe. Like I try not. So I have 2 evil empires. The Star and the dirty. The only way I know how to talk about North Carolina is dirty Tar Heel. Like I can't say UNC. I have to call them the Dirty Tar Heels, right? Because I'm from DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We hated Carolina. Hated him. Listen, anybody who I'm old enough that I lived through the Phil Ford years. And I hate the four corner. I hate the delay basketball. You know why? Because North Carolina took some of the best basketball players in the world and turned them into robots, turned them into delay game basketball. Now, we couldn't beat them. That made perfect sense.
That's why you
Right?
hate him, because you couldn't beat him.
He would throw up them four figures and the game was over. You could stop watching. He would throw up them four. And it was anybody that was a point guard back in the day. Everybody played Phil Ford. Like you would go down and you'd run the offense, and no matter what play you was running, you held up four fingers.
So back to Bobby Hurley.
Bobby Hurley
Bobby Hurley had talent around him.
Wait a minute. Can you name that lineup that was next to Mr. Alford?
He only had one guy.
He had 6.
No.
He had 3 McDonald's All-Americans on that team at Indiana.
And you never heard of him.
Well, McDonald's heard of him.
Hurley had Leitner. He had Trajan.
He had Grant.
Grant.
He had Trajan Langdon. He had Cherokee Parks. He had Crawford Palmer. He had but he had the 2 light-skinned brothers. He had Davis. He had I get that it was Duke, but Duke wasn't Duke before Bobby Hurley went in there. Duke wasn't. Look, I'm old enough to remember Duke was the bottom of the ACC.
Tommy
Or Bobby Bender,
Johnny Dawkins.
Yeah, but remember what Final Four did they get to? They got to 1.
True.
They got to 1. Indiana was the factory.
Man,
it was the factory.
You taking Hurley over Steve? Hurley couldn't shoot outside for real.
Hurley did. That's how good Hurley was.
He couldn't shoot outside for real.
Better defender.
He's too small.
Better quarterback. Better defender. Better quarterback.
Man, they offered to put that little dude on his back. Offer to put that little dude on. No, that's a good matchup. That's going to be a good matchup. But Hurley would put that. Alford would put that little dude on his back, man.
Yeah, but Hurley would have caught him in the locker room, man. He'd have caught him in the hallway.
Maybe.
Hurley would look.
Maybe a sucker punched him.
No, Hurley would have walked. Hey, he's Jersey. Hurley would, and a coach's look. Two coaches' sons. Yep. 2 coaches' sons. I like them both as people. I like them both. Real talk. I like them both. As players, they both had their things that held them back, but they won anyway. And there are a lot of point guards who could have played with Grant and Leitner and Billis, etc., and not won chips. Hurley, in the greatest upset in NCAA history.
Oh Lord! You talking about
against
UNLV?
against the great
UNLV?
Yes,
the Rebels.
Against one of the great teams in NCAA history.
I could tell you something about that, but I swore.
Whatever you tell me, I'm gonna call Everett Gray. I'm gonna call Everett Gray, and I'm gonna have him validate or deny whatever you said.
I swore that to secrecy.
There are 1,001 secrets around that UNLV basketball team.
Yeah, so I went on an official visit.
Oh, did you?
To UNLV.
Okay.
1990, and there was a lot of
there's a lot of chips on the table
thrown at me.
There's a lot of,
didn't touch none of it. No, didn't bother with it.
You the only person in history who visited UNLV, got offered everything and accepted nothing.
But
I'm giving you your crown right now because I can literally think of 20 athletes of mine or friends of mine who went on visits to UNLV and they are over. They are 0 for UNLV and going to UNLV on recruiting trips and accepting nothing.
I'm gonna put this number in your head.
Go ahead. Give it to me.
Number 2. Number 2. Okay.
Yep.
And it relates to the UNLV.
Go ahead. I'm with you. I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you.
Okay. The number 2.
I'm riding with you.
So I go on a visit. I got to Thomas Mack Arena, and they were practicing. And I walk in and watch them practice a little bit, and got to visit with those guys a little bit after at the night scene, the nightlife in Vegas. I was only 19 at the time.
Yeah, it's a fun time either way.
But I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. But the thing they said about the stuff was being thrown my way.
Yeah.
Some of them partook in it.
Mm.
And then I go to they got Mercedes, BMWs, So now so just think of the number 2 pertaining to all those guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The number 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
What number did all of them wear their rookie year in the NBA? Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, Greg Anthony.
All right, Bach, hit that button right there. Hit that button right there. Let's bring him in live. Let's bring him in live because I'm 100% positive this is the running rebel himself, Everett Gray. And what's happening with you?
What's going on? You be on some, I can't cuss on radio.
so you know your man then.
Yeah, I know. He do.
You know your man then.
We're here with Kenny Wilhite. So Kenny Wilhite's here. He's telling us about his recruiting trip to UNLV in 1990. Everett Gray. Here's what I need. I need a favor. I need you. I'm going to put you on hold. I need you to sit for like 3 minutes and bring you back, and we're going to talk recruiting at UNLV. You cool with that?
Yes, I got tons of stories.
All right, man. Sit tight. Everett Gray, the running rebel with Kenny Wilhite when we come back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish, and on their shrimp grits, collard greens, baked heart happy. Fix you a plate. Wall to wall.
Shelf liquor has experience at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcome animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those rats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstorats.com and prevention.
Max 10 for men. Bye-bye golfer lines and t-shirts. Days for just $25 now at all 4 Lincoln Max 10 locations.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under school. And it's all the guy have. Head to theticketfm.com. For ticket listeners, Farrell's Extreme Body
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Conditioning.
Windy but warm here for your Wednesday. South winds could gust over 35, but an afternoon high of 60. 38. We'll reach a high of 43 tomorrow, but then some fall in the afternoon with a rain snow mix possible. Meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Since the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to the building market in Lincoln. It's been a food.
Anish is the founder and president of Aspen Builder at aspenbuildersinc.com.
We hear this a lot. want to live in a cookie cutter home. That's some answers on where we're going to build it. And we started firm belief and in I like the see every neighborhood. I think it's great to have uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Craft Axe Throwing is celebrating 5 years in Lincoln, and you won't want to miss out on the fun. Right now through Thursday, March 16th, get $5 off multi-blade rentals like Ninja Stars and throwing cards, a free drink up to $5 value, plus a koozie with any booking, and a chance to win $5,000 just for stopping by. Plus, they're donating $500 to 24 different charities and offering discounts on merchandise and more. It's the 5-year anniversary for Craft Axe Throwing at 18th and N.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pierce.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, so that's your task, that's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
As it was tipped, it's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5, he'll score!
On 90.
Jan, happy Wednesday. We appreciate you hanging with us on Old Today. It's the coach, Kenny Wilhite, in with us, giving that Coach Wilhite talk, man. It's good stuff. Nick Gates from the Huskers and from the Commanders joined us earlier. Box running the board, 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. You want to be a part of what we're doing? We're live on the Starter Heyman live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We want to thank the folks from the Mercado. They take care of us. They feed us good, the best steak, the best meat, and pretty good restaurant, Casa Bovina. If you're looking for a spot for a special night out, go back to the Honda Lincoln hotline. But first, Bach, if you would please hit this man's music.
Here's a guy that gives them more depth at UNLV. Everett Gray brings 9 points off the bench for Coach Tarkanian.
In less than 20 minutes of play in a game.
Here he'll have a chance. Oh, as he goes up for the dunk, Miller takes a piece of the arm. Two on Miller now. Team foul number 5. Here's another basketball player with a baseball background. He was a third-round pick of the Astros in '87 was Everett Gray.
Let's bring him in. Everett Gray, man, appreciate you making time for me and Candy today. What's happening with you?
You are hilarious. You are.
I'm glad you know
funny,
that.
but-
I'm glad you know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he's trying. He's just naturally hilarious.
No, we were talking about UNLV, and so let me preface it. So it started with the discussion over between Steve Alford and Bobby Hurley. Who would you take? Who would you take?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, no, this is what Kenny asked me, and I said I would take Bobby Hurley. I said, not for nothing, undersized, underskilled, but just dog tough, and led Duke to the greatest upset in NCAA history. And of course, it came to UNLV. Kenny then immediately went into his recruiting trip out there and said some things. And I said, listen, first of all, one thing I know is that if you took a recruiting trip to UNLV, of all the people that we know that have taken recruiting trips to UNLV, I know none that accepted nothing like UNLV offered what the matter offered. Kenny, go ahead and share the story.
And he just met one because I was a football recruit. 1990, they had a coaching change. on the football staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I flew out there, and the head coach personally picked me up in his Cadillac. The other guys had to get on a van, and he took me to a meeting, and there was some, some stuff being talked about, and, and so forth. And when I'm from the inner city in St. Louis, grew up, there was 26 of us in one house. So when that person put that on the table, I had never seen that much, and thought I'd never see that much in my lifetime. And I basically told him, no, but let me visit with my parents, knowing it wasn't, legal to do. So he's basically giving me a hard time because he said I'm the only one that never accepted anything from UNLV.
Everett, sir.
What?
And I know you were still under living witness protection, so that there are certain things that will never be said because you like starting your car in the morning.
Yeah, that's real. So I already know the football coach. I know you're talking about it happens. I'm gonna say it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
But back then UNLV football was not. They was okay. They went to a bowl game like twice when I was there for 4 years. They went to 2 bowl games, and they had Keenan McCardle that time.
Yep.
I want to say they had Hunky Cooper. And they had some solid players that actually played at the next level. But I already know the coach, and I already know what color that Cadillac was. And let's just put it this way: if our football team is getting it in like that, what do you think is going on in other sports?
So I told them the story. He took me to you guys' practice, and I pull up, and there's a BMW, a Lexus, Mercedes, and I'm like, Coach, who cars are those? He goes, oh, them the players' cars. I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. He goes, that guy you just left. I'm like, okay. So that's as far as I'm gonna take it. Hey, I was a huge fan of you guys, and then he brought up the fact that Duke beat y'all. Then all of a sudden he says, I got my microphone. I'm like, what? So what I was telling him was, there's no way Duke should have beat y'all. We know what took place during that game. Come on, bro.
What happened?
What happened? Them guys, them zebras.
I know. Oh yeah, I mean, the other thing too, man. Grant Hill was pretty good. He was a freshman.
Yeah.
He was a really good player. He was a difference between the year before. I mean, like that. Hurley and Leitner were really young the year we blew them out. But the next year, Grant Hill was good, and then Greg. When they fouled Greg out, that was our issue.
Yep.
Going forward, and then they called that foul on me, and it wasn't a foul.
Hey, that's what I said. Them boys with them stripes took over.
Right.
They didn't.
So go ahead.
So there's also discussion over the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Why UNLV players, when they go to the NBA, all wear number 2?
So before Tark left, we all got together and said, before Larry got drafted, number 1 overall, we just made a pact. Whoever make it to the league in this group, we're gonna wear number 2 because Tark wore number 2 at Fresno, and that's why we all wear number 2 when we got to the league. And that's the story.
That's the story.
Coach Tark. So Coach Tark wore number 2 at Fresno, even though he was a terrible basketball player.
Yeah.
You said he was a terrible basketball player?
Terrible.
Really?
But he knew how to coach. But when it comes to hooping, he was very good. But he wore number 2, you guys. He wore number 2, and that's why everybody wore number 2 when they got to the league. It was available.
He showed y'all his film?
Yeah, we actually found it. It was grainy.
Bruh.
It was grainy. They was balling. Back then, he was wearing, they had shorts with belts.
Oh, I know. Yes. Oh, I know. Trust me. Yeah, I know. Trust me.
Shorts with the belts. I was like, what is that?
Well, he wore the shorts.
Dukes.
Yeah, recruiting. Here's the deal. I mean, I thought you wanted me to tell a story about recruiting trips, but
we can do that next week, bro. We can.
Hey, I'll tell you the story next week. I took out Headache. Headache Smith was my I took him out in Vegas, and that's a whole other story.
Where did you take him?
The most stressful recruiting weekend ever.
Where take him, sir?
So I can tell you this: we took him to the horse, Crazy Horse. He got real handsy. You can't get handsy with the ladies,
right?
And we took him there, and when you have recruits, and you guys know that the school gives you money. So we give him the money for the recruits, and we take him in there. People make some people from the basketball office make a phone call to the horse, the owner of. So back then, nothing's corporate back then. There was one person that owned something, VP.
Yep.
And you can just call somebody. This kid is 17, 18. So we just go through the back, and then give him his money, throw his ones. Don't touch the girl. I go sit by the bar. Because I don't like strip clubs, to be honest. I don't really like them.
That is a statement of truth. I can vouch for that.
I'm with you on that.
I can vouch for that.
Right.
So well.
But I got some more stories. It's hilarious, though.
Ev, we've been trying to get, we got to get you regular again, because we'll come on every week. And then he started winning state titles in Utah, and he gets too big for us. And then you have to, then it's
DP,
AAU.
we're going to get DP. We're going to DC, man. We're going to Tournament of Champions in DC, playing at Georgetown on ESPN.
When?
April 4th through the 8th.
Okay. Let me know. All right. I mean, I thought maybe
I just let you know.
Well, I mean, were you streaming? Why would I have to hear it on the air? This is the thing you're supposed to tell me.
They just today. I couldn't say anything.
Okay. Congratulations, man. That's big time. All right. Well, good stuff in that. And then Ev, here's the other thing. Like we'll get back to. I think I'm gonna get back to like one-on-one show at some point. And so we'll get you back in the regular rotation as well.
DP, I got another great story, but I'll save it. It was the police and the hospital was involved in this recruiting visit. It was hilarious.
That's the best. Like, no, you got to tell that story right now. We're giving you 10 minutes. Go ahead and start. You said, look, never in the history have you heard police report, hospital, and a recruiting story. That's the greatest lead ever. Go ahead and tell me the story.
I thought that was a teaser, but here we go. So this wasn't even my recruit, but I hung out with them before. It was a big kid from Chicago. And this is not even Tark's year. This is Massimino. This is when, Massimino got the job. But we was trying to get this big kid from Chicago. He was at a JC. And I get a phone call about 1 a.m. because I was a captain. I think I'm supposed to be captain off the floor and on the floor.
Yeah. How about that?
I'm like, anyways.
Yeah.
I get the phone call. It's freaking out. So they was at a party, and he smoked something with somebody that was late with something.
Ooh.
So the kid was freaking out. And they call me, Ev, what do we do? We need your help. I got to take him to the hospital. I'm like, take him to Sunrise. Sunrise is the one with, Tupac and everybody go. That's what. So I got the Sunrise, and I had to cover this up. So I went to all the nurses. I went to the doctors and the police. So I'm like, because I had a little name, from UNLV. And if it was camera phones back then, oh my God.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, yeah, so actually I had to talk. I said, hey, doc, I did some old mafia stuff, like some Frank Lucas stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, this don't get out. This cannot get out. Went to the police. This cannot get out. This is not good for the new coaching staff coming in. This cannot get out. And then I told all the nurses, hey, this cannot get out. And they kind of get it. They got it. And the kid kind of almost not made it, dude. It was bad. It would have been so bad for us at that time.
And this is UNLV. Like
the FBI was on us. The FBI was
right.
It was all types of stuff.
Oh.
One of these days I should write a book. But the FBI was following us, taking pictures, all types of stuff. You got to realize, DP. You remember the year we won it, the FBI snatched Stacey Augman and Jeter off the plane because they couldn't play. And so we have to deal with a bunch of stuff, and that goes back to this Alabama situation, how that kid is pretty mentally strong to be dealing with what he's dealing with. And that girl, so that's tragic that she lost her life, but we were going through a lot of stuff because FBI was pulling dudes off the plane and said, you can't play tonight. And that's a true story.
Bruh, so full disclosure. So when I was in Utah, Everett would fill in for Ron Boone. So my show was with Ron Boone. But Booner would go on the road with the Utah Jazz, and then whenever it was a road game or a road trip, Everett would sit in for that. And then when we got in ABA and CBA, Everett was actually with the organizations I was with. So Everett and I ran together, and we did all the stuff. And the stories that Everett, and first of all, Everett talks about how funny, how silly I am. Everett's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my whole life, but he's also one of the best people. And that's hard to make it through UNLV and the league and all the stuff you have to go through and still be a decent human being. So I from the text line, Everett, I need to read this to you because we have text listeners that ask if you could break down who Headache Smith is. And I know who he is.
What?
Yes. They asked who he is.
Listeners don't know.
So this is from this is one of our regular.
You want me to break it down a little bit?
This is one. Yeah. Give the elevator pitch. This is from who's one of our listeners, Pecan Pie. Says, "Hey DP, can you lay out for all of us who Headache Smith is?" Now I know who he is. Bach, do you know who he is? Do you know the name? Kenny, do you know the name? This is what, like, literally we could do a whole show on Headache Smith. Like we could do
absolutely.
Like, okay, so Ev, give the elevator pitch on who and the fact that he was being recruited by UNLV. But
I'll give you the story. Here's the story though, dude. It's hilarious. It's part of Tarkin's story too. So I take headache out. Tark come to me, hey, you got headache tonight. I'm like, all right, 7 Headache Smith. So take him out. He does his thing. Did a couple spots. Take him to dinner, and the rest is history. 2 years later, he point shaves at Arizona State. He ended up signing with Arizona State. It was a big point shaving scandal at Arizona State because of Headache Smith. Listeners, he was having 7 Headache Smith was a reason why I think Frieder got fired at Arizona State, and it was a mess. So he got, how bookies get you is that once they get you one time, they got you forever, because all they're gonna do is go snitch on you, and they're gonna force you to shave points. But that's the headaches, Stevens headaches. But here's the crazy part, DP. My junior year, when all that stuff started coming out, Tark coming in is like, thank God we didn't get that kid. It was hilarious how he said it, but yes, it messed his career up. He was a borderline NBA player if he didn't do all that stuff. But he got caught point shaving. You can look it up at Arizona State. He ended up signing with Arizona State, and
I remember the scandal. I just didn't know his name was Headache Smith, but now we know why.
Right?
His nickname,
like his mother knew. His mother knew.
So I got to ask you this: was that his government name or was that his street name?
Yeah,
that was his street name.
It was actually, well, it was spelled Hedake. So
yeah,
some people would say
his government
Hidaki, but headache.
But they was just saying headache.
Headache.
Okay, yeah, I remember. I remember the scandal. I just didn't know that the guy's name was Headache.
Look, this is why. So again, especially during the pandemic and everything, Everett would come on and we would just leave. Now, I mean, he could still talk Nebraska basketball with the best of them. He knows the game. He sends recruits to Nebraska. Again, they don't sign any of them, and it really upsets me and bothers me because Everett can coach. Like, he knows what's required. I think he and Fred together would be amazing. But that's just me using basketball IQ. Everett knows the game. He knows sports. He knows the all the business that goes on beyond the game. And then he has somehow has turned himself into one of the best high school basketball coaches and AAU coaches in the country. And he knows I don't give it that freely, but I love the dude because he's always been there for me. He always stood up for me. He always rallied when I call. Man, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to book you. We'll do it again next week, man. We'll set it up in advance once we get to that trip, and we can talk about that trip to DC.
Okay, all right. Stay black. I'll talk to you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, Ev is. I mean, he's just one of my. Like, he brought in a AAU team to Omaha, and he and Myron Sims, who played here locally at JUCO before he went to Utah State, they came in and hung out with us. Ev and Strick are boys. They know each other from that space. But Everett, his older brother, played football at UNLV. 88, I believe.
Okay.
Could play. Played with. It might have been a little bit early because he played with Randall Cunningham.
Cunningham.
He played with Randall Cunningham. But Ev, he told a story of being he came home from a basketball tournament. His mom said, "Yeah, some people called you today from Texas somewhere talking about baseball." And she was like, "Well, from where?" And she said, "I think his last name was Houston." He had been drafted by the Astros, and they called. So imagine like when you're having Travis and Austin in here. So guys that size. So Everett was California's top ranked receiver for 2 years. So imagine 6'6.5", 220 pounds playing wide receiver back in the day in high school. Like he would have been LeBron-esque at playing this game. And then they would turn him into a tight end. And Everett could have got a league, but Everett could throw. Everett could pitch. And you imagine a 6'7" dude who's athletic just throwing bombs at you. That's Everett. That's Everett. He's a really good athlete, really good person. He's the athletic director at a high school in Salt Lake City. Nice. And he's doing his thing, and he's got good folks out there. All right, so we'll close out because we got to turn it over to the folks at Westwood One. But I'll ask the top story for you, spring practice. What are you looking for? Like, what's going to make you be able to say, I feel good about Nebraska football?
What I'm basically looking for is it's a new scheme on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see if the guys have been studying. Are they able to communicate and play fast? Again, it's all new.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take time. You can be in a classroom or walkthroughs all you want.
Mm-hmm.
Until you do it live and see it live, you don't know what you're going to get. So I'm interested to see the 3-3-5, who they put where, and can they do it?
As a corner, just going from what Nebraska run to this unique 3-3-5, does it change corner play?
No.
Does it change nickel responsibility?
It'll change the nickel and it'll outside linebacker. It'll change their play.
Does it require more physical play from the safeties?
Yes.
Right? So they'll have to change and they'll have to play more of an Iowa, Wisconsin force,
yes.
But still be open to that. Edge setters, from what you know to be in play. And again, you're missing a big returning piece in that. But edge setters in this 3-3-5, what's required of them?
They got to be football players. They got to be tough. They got to be physical. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Man, I think, like I said, and I think the real thing is I'm not real sure that any fan is going to leave spring game April 22nd happy, because no matter what happens, the other side of it is that's a question. Like, I just don't know. So, Kenny, thank you. Well done, kind sir. Brother. And I know, so you're here Friday? You with us Friday? You're here tomorrow, but not Friday. All right. So we'll be at Buffalo Wings and Rings tomorrow. Come on down. 10 o'clock. We'll be there all day. Come on and hang out with Bach. Thank you for doing what you do, kind sir. Greatly appreciated. Good stuff. Y'all be good to each other and yourselves.
Make somebody smile today.
Yes, sir.